Welcome to Inside the Birds TV, a special Inside the Birds TV, as it is Saturday, just after 4 o'clock. Adam Caplan here, Geoff Mosher here. The Eagles are down to 53, Adam. Some pretty interesting cuts. We'll talk about them. But on the bigger picture, we did our 53-man roster projection pod the other day, and I think we were pretty close. I mean, maybe 3 or 4 guys here and there that we didn't get, but out of 53, I thought we kind of at least hit it on the head with some of those fringe guys who we told you were going to make the team.
Yeah, so the ones that I got wrong is I think I had Quez Watkins off of the roster.
As did I.
And he is on it. I had Noga Togiai on the roster. He is off of it.
Right.
And I think defensively, now I got Singleton right. The only one that I missed on defense was I think I had Osman on it. I think I actually had Osman on it as a 7.
Yeah, we both did. That was a little bit surprising. So we'll kind of get into what they did there.
Very small. Nothing. I would. Oh no, I know what I got wrong. There was only one thing that surprised me. That was Sharif Miller, and that one we'll get to when we talk about defense. But but the roster construction I really want to get into, Geoff, on both sides of the football. It's not well, the numbers were not quite exactly the way I saw it. Pretty close, but a little bit off.
Right. Let's start with the offense because we really, both of us, I think, nailed the offensive side of the football except for what you mentioned, Watkins and Togiai. It's basically one for the other. We said 3 quarterbacks. It's 3 quarterbacks. We said 3 running backs, 3 running backs, 7 wide receivers, but that's because we both had 6, but they kept Watkins, and then we both had 3 tight ends, but they did not keep Togiai, and then 8 offensive linemen. So when I look at this, Adam, and I think it reinforces what we said, is that they went a little light in areas that they normally go heavier, like running back, but that's why it's important that we remind everybody this is the initial 53, not the final 53. A lot of action may happen in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, and I know some people are saying to me, is 3 running backs a sign that Miles Sanders' hamstring is healed or his injury? We're the ones who reported the hamstring. No, not necessarily. I still believe, and I've believed for 3 months, that they wanted to sign a veteran running back. You remember my report on Carlos Hyde. The money didn't work out for them. They were going to sign him if he was willing to sign for what they wanted. I still think they're on the look for a veteran running back. I think they're making a mistake, quite frankly, if they don't sign one. God forbid that he suffers an injury that would keep him out for a while. Even this hamstring, and we have to see what he does this week. We want to make sure that he's taking his full work in, and we'll monitor that, his practice schedule. I don't expect him to play his usual snaps, though, against Washington. I'll be honest with you. With the hamstring strain, Geoff, guy's been down a month. So to expect that he's going to take his normal amount of snaps against Washington, I don't know that's going to happen. But I still think they would be smart to eventually add a veteran running back. And now that we've had the cut down to 53, there are going to be some backs out there. And let me address the Adrian Peterson question. I'm told the Eagles don't have interest in him. So we can
so no interest. Is that, do you think, because of financial reasons, he's probably going to get more than $1.5 million from somebody? Or do you think they don't want the older, broke type player?
I think
can't say broken down. Okay.
Yeah, no, he's actually – the thing about Adrian Peterson is this. The Eagles are not a running team. That's not what they do. Will they run? Sure. But that's not they're what is known as a passing offense. They get the lead, then they'll run like heck. So when you have Adrian Peterson, you're basically going to be a run team, and you're probably going to use a fullback, or you're going to be committed to the run and run style offense. That's not what the Eagles are. So I never thought it was a fit, and that's kind of what I've heard.
All right, let's take a look at maybe another running back. First, I want to tell everybody.
I would tell you though I tell you. I'm told 2 things. He looks good. He's in good shape. He's physically good. I think he's going to help a team out there. Based on the way the Eagles run it, I just don't see it. Sorry, just go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. I just wanted to remind everybody to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use code ITB for a special offer when you sign up. That's code ITB for all of your special offers when you sign up at DraftKings Sportsbook. One guy that may or may not fit what the Eagles do. I mean, the Chiefs had signed DeAndre Washington, right? DeAndre Washington, did I get that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and he's a guy who's been on some good teams and can do some things. Do you think – I know he's not the big back that maybe the Eagles would look for, but he's got a decent history in the league.
Yeah, you know what? He would be a fit. It just I could just tell you, it just didn't work for that. He never performed in practice like they were expecting. He's a talented kid. He's a 4-year player with the Raiders, and he would fit the Eagles scheme. That's a name, though. Look, it just didn't happen for him. You could
Right.
probably handle 10 to 12 carries if he had to, but he's available.
All right, he's available. So we'll kind of keep our eye on the situation about the running backs for the next 24 hours. By the time you and I do the podcast, which will drop Monday at 6 a.m., we'll probably have some clearer answers on that. I want to focus on the offensive line, not because there were any surprises. We hit all 8 that they were keeping, but it's almost like the 53 and the cutdown shades over the actual story here, and that's who in the world is starting left tackle for this team week 1 against Washington? Andre Dillard's going to go on IR. We know that. So you can't convince me that Matt Pryor is starting at left tackle for the Eagles week 1 versus Washington.
I'm with you that I don't see why they would do that. But to me, it would either be move Jason Peters over or go with Jordan Mailata. They did work out Cordy Glenn, the former first-round pick of the Bills, who also played for the Bengals. He's on the downside of his career, but he has something, probably has a little bit left in the tank. They haven't signed him yet, so that they may be waiting to see what else is out there, see who else gets cut. But I'm a little bit surprised that they had Pryor there. Now, I know through Wednesday's practice, he was the left tackle. I don't know what happened. I think they either had 1 or 2 days off on the weekend. Yeah. So I don't know how they finished the week, but it is a little bit surprising that they either haven't traded for left tackle or they have not signed one. But look, they have a little bit of time here. But whoever they would add is obviously not going to be able to start week 1. So it's either going to be Pryor or Jason Peters.
Well, yeah, I want people to understand that when you see the Eagles working out somebody like Cordy Glenn or any tackle, that doesn't mean that this person, they're going to sign a guy who's going to start left tackle week 1. That's a depth signing that they're looking for. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do again at that position in the next 24 hours and where they're going to go with that. So that rounds up the offense. I mean, the only other thing I'll say, Adam, is that it seems as if right now, I mean, I don't know if you got any feelers that they're going to go into the season with Nate Sudfeld as the backup to Jalen Hurts. And I mean, as the backup to Carson Wentz, and Jalen Hurts as the 3.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The running back and the quarterback and running back alignment is exactly what we predicted. We were not expecting any surprises. But though I do think they'll add a running back, but the wide receiver one, Watkins over Geoff. What are your thoughts on Watkins over Deontay Burnett? I had Burnett off my that was the last minute change I made. I just didn't. I thought he would be able to be claimed through. I thought they could get him through waivers. But my issue with this is that because of Alshon's injury, I don't see him playing week 1. Obviously, Reagor. You and I both know that Reagor is not expected to play week 1. They only have 4 healthy receivers, so is the 5th guy, if you call upon him, going to be ready to play? That's the question.
It's a great question. Well, here's the thing. Burnett passed through waivers unclaimed, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct.
So he has an opportunity.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean definite, but they have an opportunity. And I think we mentioned this in our 53-man roster projection pod to bring him back on the practice squad. And then you get 2 guys from your practice squad who you can bring up on game day. So if they feel like Rager's not going to make it, Jeffrey's not going to make it, and they're only going into week 1 with a healthy Deshaun, a healthy Arcega-Whiteside, and a healthy Ward, then and they're not completely certain that Quez Watkins and Hightower are ready to contribute right away, they can bring Burnett up because they know he's played in games. But that's all contingent upon whether they bring Burnett to their practice squad and nobody else is able to sign him to the 53 or their practice squad. So we'll have to see on that.
Yeah.
It's a little roll of dice, though.
That's exactly what I mean. I think it's a little bit dicey. You could have him as one of the 2 players called up on game day, which is the new rule that we have this year. Where you could expand your roster from 53 to 55. Because now Greg Cosell told me on SiriusXM, or was it SiriusXM Fantasy? I can't remember wherever we talked to him. But I do know this about Greg Ward. He did play a little bit on the outside. Greg said that he can do it if he had to. He was pressing a service last year in the final quarter of the season. So that's a possibility for the Eagles there on the outside.
Okay, that'd be interesting.
Mhm.
Not exactly a burner as you're saying, but and
No,
plus
not at all. No, it's
they
possession.
are going to play a lot of 12 personnel. So I mean, theoretically,
Yep,
they may only need 2 or 3 healthy receivers. I would say this though.
exactly.
I think to your Watkins point, and we'll get into it now that we talk about defense. They clearly showed a preference to the players that they picked in this year's draft to have a 6th rounder in Watkins and a 7th rounder in Tuhill make the team. When you have a guy like Sharif Miller, a 4th rounder from just a year ago, cut, it shows you that
That was
Howie
surprising.
Roseman was bent on keeping this year's class, and to the point where he didn't want to risk putting anybody on waivers, which surprises me a little bit.
I was very surprised. That was the only one where I go, huh, Sharif Miller
Right.
never had a chance. Last year, we knew coming in he was a developmental project, okay? It would all be all about his second season. Well, he didn't have a second all season because there's no they didn't have one. No teams did.
Right.
So why would you do that? To me, that I don't agree with that one. I would have given him a chance because you would love to, now if he clears waivers, which I have a hard time feeling that he's going to. It's the waiver claims are processed 12 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Now, if he clears, they'll sign him to the practice squad.
Right.
But you're asking for trouble when you cut a 4th round pick. I'm surprised that one I'm a little bit dumbfounded by. But they have them. I always say this: the clubs know better than I do or you do because they are the ones who are there.
Right.
But you also knew going into it that he was a project, and that's the thing that I just don't understand.
Something we'll get into on the next pod, Adam, as we start to shift toward the regular season, is the fact that right now, getting ready for the season, you look at this defensive end group. Jannard Avery was hurt. I don't know if that he's going to be ready to play week 1. He may even go
Yeah, I
on that injured reserve. So if you take Avery and Barnett, who's been hurt and it doesn't look like he's getting back on the field soon. I don't know, but we'll see.
well,
But
Avery's on the roster. I don't
yeah,
understand that. Why did they? Okay, here I could update it. I know he had 2 injuries. Both are incredibly, they're both minor. A slightly sprained knee, a grade 1 sprain. I don't know which ligament, and then he had the bone bruise. There's no way to know when that'll be. Bone bruises could heal in 3 days. It could heal in a month. You just don't
right.
know. But a guy that you would think is not going to be 100% for week 1. We've got Derek Barnett, who missed all training camp just about with the ankle. I know that the ankle's got to get right. And then we know, you and I have talked about this, Josh Sweat cannot play for a complement of snaps. You're pushing it if you're trying to play him 40 snaps a game.
Right.
So they must know something. It's their team. But I'm very surprised that they would do this.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the other thing. I know that Tuhill earned a roster spot. I get that. I believe I had him on it in my last update. But nevertheless, the way it's explained to me was he earned a roster spot. But, Geoff, you've seen Tuhill. He's not the biggest guy in the world. Can he contribute week 1, 2, or 3?
I mean, maybe in limited doses, but the way I'm thinking is you need 4 defensive ends because that's how they play the rotation. You need 4 defensive ends who can play a decent amount of snaps. Brandon Graham is one. I'm told Vinny Curry, even though he missed some practices as of late with a lower body injury, is okay and he's going to be ready for week 1.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I am told he's going to be okay and he's rocking to go.
Okay.
So Graham,
All right, good.
Curry, Josh Sweat, and who? If Avery is hurt and if Casey Tuhill as a rookie may or may not even be active, I'm just you
We only
talked
have
about
4.
it. Maybe you only
4.
Graham, Curry, Sweat is 3 to me. Unless you're counting
Graham,
Derek Barnett.
Oh, well, Derek Barnett, right? They must think he's going to be ready. Now they do have the option to play Jackson at end. Now, one thing we'll start looking at the weather report for Monday's show, the long range weather report for next Sunday.
Right.
But typically first couple weeks it gets pretty hot in the low to mid 80s,
right?
Because guys get worn down, and plus they have not played in any games yet, so their conditioning might be a challenge. So
right.
yeah, that's why this is what surprises me. I really did think they would certain positions because of the challenges of the early weeks and getting guys in shape for just the snap shape as you would call it. That they would have more like a D, but that's what they have.
Right. I thought so too. And I guess time will tell on the Sharif Miller if he goes to another team and if he's able to develop. It's just very interesting that they would cut it. A 4th round pick who didn't get a chance to play who, because they said he was a little raw and needed work, and then doesn't get the opportunity to develop within your system. So we'll see. Defensive tackle, there was no surprises. We said 4. They kept 4: Cox, Hargrave, Jackson, Hassan Ridgeway. Not much to say there. Anthony Rush did get cut, and we'll see what happens with him. Linebacker, Adam, they kept 6. I was a little alarmed that they might try to go in it with 5 and 2 rookie backups, but they kept Singleton. And I think that was a good decision. I really do think that they needed somebody in that backup core who's played.
Yeah, no surprises there in terms of the guys they kept. But again, as you called it like 6 weeks ago, you had felt your sense was they would sign a veteran linebacker, and I was with you, and I still am. I'm kind of surprised they'd go Sean Bradley, 6th-round pick, and I know T.J. Edwards has certainly been one of their most improved linebacker. He was their best linebacker in camp. Duke Riley, now he was a drafted player of the Falcons. Alex Singleton was a former CFL player who the reason why he's on this team, as was explained to me, he's given a play and he executes it to the best of his ability. Very few mental errors. And Davion Taylor, who's probably not going to play on defense this season. So they don't have a veteran linebacker, but it was supposed to be the kid who retired.
Right.
That they got from the Chargers. What was his name again?
Jatavius Brown, correct?
Jatavius Brown. Yeah, Jatavius
Brown.
Jatavius
Brown.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That was the guy. Right. That's right.
So we pretty much nailed the secondary. I mean, I think you and I both had 5 corners, and we both said they're not going to keep Rasul and not going to keep Sidney Jones.
Nope. All right. Let me. I couldn't. I can't always report stuff or say stuff on our show that sometimes I'm aware of. Craig James is probably their 2nd or 3rd best corner in training camp. That's the real story.
He did have a good camp.
He had a great camp. Like he played. By the way, he plays inside or outside. And I'll tell you what. Now, I'm not saying Maddox won't do the job. They love him. But Craig James is the reason why Sidney Jones and Rasul Douglas are no longer in Philly.
Good for Craig James. It's a good story.
Yeah. I mean, he's just he had from pillar to post. I was kind of like making fun of the guy in the offseason. He'll never make it, so I was wrong about that one. I didn't see it last year. I just didn't see it last year. I didn't see anything good out of him.
Well, there was one play. There was one play, if you remember.
He against the Packers?
The breakup against Devontae Adams, right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, come on. Okay, great. One play. But he has positional versatility in terms of playing slot and outside. He has average size, but he's another guy. He's an execution corner. You give him the play, he executes it. The guy earned it. I'll give him the credit. I didn't know much about him. I started to get some intel that he had a real good shot to make it. Checked in with a couple of people, and they said, yeah, he's had a great camp. You're right. I'm like, okay, good. Thank you. Nicole Roby-Coleman, Maddox. Well, no, what I say about Maddox is I'm not saying James is going to press him for time, but if Maddox were to suffer an injury, that's the guy. That's the way I see it on the outside.
Right. And by the way, Craig James plays special teams, I believe. So that's a big feather in the cap for the bottom roster, too.
Good point. Yep.
For a guy like Rasul or Sidney Jones. You nailed safety. I had 5, I believe. I think at the last second I decided not to keep Rudy Ford.
Well, no, but I had Parks put on IR.
Right.
No, I had.
Well, you can't do that I just took now, though, right? You can't if you put him on IR before the 53-man cutdown, then I think he has to stay on IR. Like, all these guys are eligible, like Rager, him, anybody else can go on IR now and come back in 3 weeks. But I think if you did it before, you wouldn't have been allowed to do that. You understand what I'm saying?
I thought it was. I thought it was at the 53-man cutdown. I mean, I could probably ask. But never you might be right, but I just thought it was to be honest with you, your reasoning makes sense because for the life of me, we know Will Parks, based on the NFL Network report, he's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. He's a perfect guy to be in that on injury reserve, but you could bring him back after 3 games.
Right.
The rule is not weeks, it's games, by the way, just to be clear.
Correct. So that could still happen. If they want to bring in, say, another safety or something, they could put Will Parks tomorrow on that list, open up the roster spot, and be able to bring in somebody else. And I, think we both anticipate moves being made. So maybe running back, maybe linebacker, correct?
Yes and no. Yes, it would behoove them to do it, but knowing the way the Eagles have treated the linebacker position, I wouldn't bet on that one.
All right. We'll see. Do you think maybe defensive line or offensive line?
Oh, one thing about linebacker before I move on to offensive line and defensive line, don't understand something. We both know this, but just to reinforce it, Eagles are a nickel team. They don't play base very often. They're about 65 to 70% nickel. So you really only need, quite frankly, if Davion Taylor, well, let's put it this way. you don't need Taylor to be a factor this season because the only guys that are really going to play regular snaps are Gary, Riley, and Edwards. If nobody gets hurt, those three will rotate.
Correct.
And I don't know who's going to be their nickel linebackers. It's right now, if I had to bet, it's Riley and Gary. And Edwards could play in base they're going to play base. And I think you'd pointed out, and I know for sure, he started seeing nickel time in training camp. So those three, Geoff, will rotate, and Singleton will probably be the top backup. And Bradley kind of did some good things. Other than specials, I don't know if he gets on defense. So you know what? Maybe they don't sign a linebacker, a veteran. But of course, the veteran linebacker could be better than any of these guys, but that's another story.
Yeah, we will see about that. All right, just some ancillary stuff. There was a report that from Jeff McClain, the Inquirer, that the Eagles were trying to trade Alshon, that they've done this before, which we've talked about. No takers as we do this right now, and you've been pretty steadfast on the Eagles not being able to find a taker. But I've been pretty steadfast on they were going to try.
Let me tell you something. Jeff and I had a bet. Jeff texted me 6 months ago, 4 months ago, and I told him he's out of his mind. And I think I actually thought you need to be drug tested. But no, but I'll tell you what, I'll have to drug test myself if he gets traded. I just over $9 million fully guaranteed. Now here's the way they can facilitate it. Okay, here's the way you can do this. You do it like the Texans and Seahawks did it for Clowney. You go like this. Hey, how about we pay $5 million, you pay $4 million, and plus we're going to let you work him out. Let him go to your facility. You work him out. We're going to give you permission to do that. We'll do, i.e., we'll do anything for you to be able to take him off our damn hands.
Right. Would they throw a draft pick in too? Almost like the who was the quarterback that got traded to Cleveland from Houston? Brock Osweiler, right? Where Houston actually threw a draft pick in there.
Yeah. That was ridiculous. But I would say this: you could do something like that. Now, Alshon, as I reported on our show 6 weeks ago, and I've kind of monitored it to see if anything changes. Because if he had a setback, if he had suffered a setback, he was staying on PUP, but he didn't. So the question now is, when does he come back within the 6 weeks? Because if you think he's coming back within 6 weeks, you don't have him on reserve PUP. So since they took him off of it, they clearly think he's going to play. What I said was, don't rule out anything here. Now, I'm personally ruling out week 1. Eagles didn't tell me that, but how the hell could you play him when he hasn't practiced in 9 months? He's good. This is his first week practice. Come on, I don't see that.
Yeah.
Where were we here? I'm sorry.
No, just the idea that they did try. I mean, to trade him according to Jeff McClain's report. So I mean, we still got 24 hours before the real 53 comes out. We'll see what happens, and we'll see if I'm the winner of that bet.
I don't
know.
It doesn't
have
to
be now.
That's
anytime before the end of the year.
Right. Just a couple thoughts and notes here. I want to get back to offense, and then maybe one or two on defense. The Eagles, to me, must have a lot of confidence in John Hightower. Now, he had a phenomenal camp. Maybe if you and I graded who are the top players on offense and defense, Hightower's in my top 3 based on sourcing, just based on talking to people.
Yeah.
Probably Jackson, D-Jax, Hightower.
Sweat.
Oh, God, yeah. He's an interesting player. Kelsey. As far as good stories of development being Preston of service, Jack Driscoll.
Yeah.
Damalo was terrific, I heard. Corey Clement looked healthy. He's on his way back, knock on wood.
Right.
Ertz had a very good camp of just continuing to be the great player that he is. He looked great, healthy and all that. Defensively, Craig James, obviously, as we mentioned earlier. Oh, okay. Here's what I missed. I'm sorry. Here's what I missed. Your guy, Marcus Epps, you brought it up 3 weeks ago, and I was not aware of it, that you said, hey, I got a sleeper. Guy's doing real well. And you mentioned Marcus Epps. I was like, really? Okay. And then I want to know what he was doing well with. Jim Schwartz has a lot of confidence, this guy, to use him in because right now he's going to fill in for Will Parks. Big nickel, also play inside at linebacker, that linebacker formation that they have. Some of the Corey Coleman, what was his name? What was the guy's name? The safety?
Oh, Corey Graham.
Corey Graham, yeah, I don't know what, yeah. Corey Graham, yeah, some of that role. He's got Will Parks had a major role, and he still might whenever he gets healthy. Kayvon Wallace, my understanding, he's not ready. I mean, he's just, he's a rookie who didn't have an offseason. He might have been,
Right.
he might have been that guy had he an offseason, but he didn't have one. So do not look for him to see much playing time this season on defense, if at all.
Right. And real quick, Howie Roseman did do a press conference, and one thing he did say was that the Eagles do have players that they can place on IR, as we mentioned, to create spots in case they want to.
There you go. That plays to your point. Good job. Yeah,
So
I'm glad you said that, because I was not aware of because they're treating it. Okay, here's the way they're doing it. The IR, the old designation to return IR DFR, you had to wait after it's. I don't know why they do this. They make you wait until you set your initial 53.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think Monday you could start doing it. That was if I remember correctly. I remember emailing the NFL about it. Like, I had to email the NFL and IRs. Oh, and by the way, I'm glad you brought this up. I love this IR rule. They could literally, if they had 8 guys who are hurt, if they wanted to, they could put 8 guys on IR and bring them all back after they serve 3 games if they wanted to.
That's right. Another thing Howie said, another thing Howie said that's important to note is that they don't find themselves with a whole lot of financial flexibility because of the salary cap going forward. So anybody still holding out hope for Jadeveon Clowney or some other high-priced guy, I don't even know who's out there that would be considered high-priced.
They're not on Clowney.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. So and Howie basically said it himself. The money's not there. So
they would be if Clowney cut his price in half. They would, but they're not. He's not, and they're not. So, I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Excellent. All right, let's leave it at that. We will have more on our podcast that'll drop at 6 a.m. Monday that will talk about the 53 in a broader standpoint. We'll go through some of the guys that do go on IR. We'll go through some of the guys that make the practice squad, and we'll obviously talk about anybody that they claim off waivers. And then we are in full season 2020 mode. Looking forward. We start doing our podcast 3 times a week, right? Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll have some announcements hopefully to make. And I'm ready for it, man. Are you ready for the season?
I can't wait. I know. And we've got – Geoff and I are sitting on 2 pretty big announcements. If everything goes right, we haven't signed anything. But I just want to thank special thanks to Josh Weinfeld, our business manager, Hunter Brody for his diligence, you, Geoff, for your hustle and getting our shows up. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys. And this has gone way far. This show, when I came up with this show 2 years ago with my friend Bill Osborne, your friend Bill Osborne, I had no idea what we were getting into. I never thought it would be this good. I had no idea. But as I said, you as a partner, I mean, I couldn't imagine having anyone better, man. I thank you for all your diligence and your help.
Oh, no problem, man. Same you. You're the best insider out there, so it's a pleasure to work with you. All right, and we're gonna kick some ass coming up this year.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Remember, everybody should go to statesidevodka.com. Get 10% off the best vodka out there. Use the promo code BIRDS on pickup or delivery. That's right. They deliver to Philadelphia County, Chester County, Delco, Monco, Bucksco, Westmoreland, and Allegheny. And that's going to do it for this edition of Inside the Birds TV. Thanks to Hunter Brody. As Adam mentioned, you can check out his work on YouTube. It's called Sports Talk with Broads. Catch the latest Inside the Birds podcast on any platform that you use, and check out InsideTheBirds.com for our latest Eagles coverage. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next episode of Inside the Birds TV.